I don't even.
Casual.
That looks like someone animated
Hi, guys.
poorly.
Welcome to another episode of Always Open. I'm your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and today I have probably the best looking cast to ever exist on this set. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you've been on this show before this episode. With me today, I have
It's me, Hannah.
an angel.
I panic every time I'm on the show and I say it's me because I'm used to listening to you and I just say it because I panic. Sorry.
Hannah, who's next to you?
The most
It's
perfect.
me.
Oh, come on.
The most perfect Troy Baker.
The most perfect Troy. There's
Baker.
a less than perfect Troy Baker, and he unfortunately was not available.
Yeah, you know what? We tried to get him, but he just didn't show up. What's up? It's me. You can't even see my legs. Look at my legs.
I wish you could. Let's get a shot of them.
Ooh.
Shot of them gams.
Weird things going on
It's an
here.
interesting pose.
It's not very comfortable.
You in an accident? What happened to you?
Jesus
you
is
remember,
gonna come and rise and be healed.
Do you remember that game? It was called Q-Wop, I think, and it was this like you were a track runner trying to run down a track, and you had to use like the Q, W, O, and P
Yes.
to walk. But his legs, they would make his legs go like
Was
this.
it like you would control like the body too and
Yes.
the legs, or
Yeah.
was it like out and down?
Yeah, it was something weird. But anyway, that's what it looked
Yeah,
like.
I feel like you guys are pitching a terrible game.
It was.
It was a terrible game. It's been made. Would you like to voice it?
I probably did.
We just needed to go, ah!
Nope, actually I did that.
A lot of grunts in your
One
life.
of these days I'm gonna be able to walk good if they press that Q, W, O, P better.
There you go.
BAFTA.
As a line from the game.
That's what will give me the BAFTA.
Troy, you're back.
I'm front too, sides, middle, top, and bottom. I am. How long has it been?
You were on season 7.
I don't know. I don't really believe in numbers.
Yeah, we don't either.
Yeah, we had you and Nolan on. We pre-recorded an episode with you guys because you were going to be in town. It was when we had this new set.
No.
This new thing.
Not this news.
No,
set.
We had
Not
this
the-
thing. We didn't have this thing.
Not
This
the
is
chairs.
brand
This is a
Exactly.
brand new thing.
It's the first time on the chairs.
We did. I think we were we were gonna be the 3rd episode of the season. But
Yeah.
we were the first thing.
Yeah.
We got to knock the dust off that thing.
You could tell because if you look at the chalkboard, we had written the things out instead of having it professionally done.
Yes.
By
our-
John Benson.
Mr. John Benson.
John Bunsen of Bunsen burner fame.
Well,
Beaker, Bunsen Beaker.
it's close.
That's a new thing. I would have thought that guy would become a thing, right?
I know,
People
right?
clamoring for a Beaker game now.
What?
You hear about this?
Yeah.
No.
Are you,
From the Game Awards?
yeah.
Bunsen, Beaker, and Clyde, whatever their names
I
are.
don't remember.
You guys are
Showed
just
up-
making sounds.
No. Hey, you guys talked about the weirdest game ever. I can tangent off into this one with you.
Everyone knows co-op.
For the Game Awards, they brought out Bunsen, Beaker, and
Yeah.
that guy.
Oh,
What's
the
this? From the
Muppets.
From the
Yes.
Muppets.
Yes.
And now everyone's like, well, now I want that game. They like did a fake game, and now I think it's actually going to happen where Beaker's going to be in the Untitled Goose Game.
It was
Honk,
pretty
honk.
adorable and perfect.
You've played the Entitled.
I have. That was my Halloween costume.
Honk, honk.
It was your Halloween
That was my
costume.
Halloween costume.
With Dan.
What
I was an
brutal.
angry villager. So I had a broom,
Okay.
and Dan dressed up as the goose. So it really didn't work when we were apart. Like I just looked like a janitor. I was at the Halloween party here with my broom walking around, and people thought I was
Like-
just, yeah.
Why don't you care?
Yeah, they were like, "Are you cleaning up? Like, are you here to clean up?" And I was like, "I'm an angry villager from the Goose Game."
That's what I've learned about like Halloween costumes.
Pair costumes, you have to be together. And
Don't.
as soon as he would walk up and I would like shake the broom at him, people were like, "Oh, I get it." But when we were apart, it didn't really work. As well.
Explain Untitled Goose Game. to
How
me.
can you?
I mean,
it is a
Yeah.
anomaly. It feels like it was a joke game, and then people start playing it, and it's just.
it's delightful.
It's delightful. It's the most simplistic mechanically thing, but it's also just.
Are you a goose?
You're the goose.
You're the
And
goose.
Troy actually voiced the goose.
Honk, honk.
Honk, honk.
The most casual goose of all. Just honk honk.
I feel like you would love this game, Mariel.
Do you just wreak havoc?
Yes.
Yeah.
But in a
Goose havoc.
very charming. Well, I would say.
Annoying.
Yeah. I mean, for the villagers, it's
You're a goose, and there's never been like, well, that's a very cute goose.
That's true. Geese are mean, I feel like. They're scary.
Gooses.
Geese's?
This is the strangest start to any episode you've ever had.
No,
No.
Be the one to provide that.
clearly haven't seen this show.
9 seasons. All right.
Have you ever done a couple's costume?
Yes. So here's the deal. Growing up the way that I did, Halloween was like frowned upon. Like we didn't do it. And
Is that
so
a Christian thing?
very Christian thing. So every once in a while, we would do the Hallelujah party because we didn't want to celebrate Halloween by dressing up in costume and going and collecting candy. So you go to the church and you dress up like a biblical character. You go get candy. Very mixed messaging.
The scariest costume of all.
So at 9 years old, when you're really trying to like process the intricacies and nuances of your faith, all of it was like, how do I get the Reese's? I don't care. Give me the Whoppers. Give me the Reese's. Do I have to put that beard on or that devil horn? I don't care. So finally, in my adulthood, my wife and I dressed up as Royal Tenenbaums. She was, why am I drawing a blank on her name? She was Margot, and then I was the other Wilson brother. Luke Wilson. And it, because I had this a great bushy beard at the time, which again, if you go and Google images, it's like, I said this before, I felt like if you like Google images me, it looks like someone who's in witness protection because it's just like, that's not the same person, but it is, oddly enough. So yeah, I've done it before. Have you done it?
Yeah, I've done one couple's costume. It was last year. Trevor and I were Wayne and Garth.
Oh yeah, that was.
I remember that. That was pretty brilliant.
That was the cheapest, easiest.
Really?
Ever. I didn't have to wear makeup. I got to tease my hair.
But were you like sexy Garth?
No. You're by nature. By nature, but
that's
not fair. Like this is great. This is New Year's episode, and we're talking about Halloween.
I know. Well, we're wrapping up the year. You know, we're talking about all the things that happened in this year, and Halloween was a thing that happened this year.
It was. I was surprised that it happened.
Thank you, Mariel.
Good night. Sure enough, they were like, you know what? October 31st, you're up.
We're bringing it back.
You know, I didn't think it'd happen again this year.
What costume did you guys do? You didn't do a couple's costume.
No, it was my brother's wedding on the 2nd.
Oh, that's right, because you had just left London.
Yes, we were in London together for MCM Comic Con. And then this guy went off to Paris and I had to come back to Austin.
Casual.
Get ready for that. But no, because we left on that Thursday, which was Halloween. And Julia, who's my brother's wife, she had like a bachelorette party thing that night, and she's like, just come in like a witchy vibe look.
Ooh.
So I kind of dressed up.
Witchy vibe.
Witchy vibe.
But instead, to me, that meant black dress.
Right.
And for some reason, I decided to do braids, so I just looked like Wednesday Addams.
Oh, well, she could be a witch.
She could be a witch.
That works though.
Right?
Wasn't she?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
she's like
shit about
supernatural, I think. I don't know. I haven't seen. But she's weird.
Are you doing like Christina Ricci, or are you doing the more?
Oh, I was thinking
Or like
Christina
the
Ricci.
original?
Yeah, OG.
Is that your print? That's not really OG though.
Well, that's
like
not OG. I mean, well, OG is Get It Wednesday, little girl that dances with Frankenstein with
Lurch.
Lurch, yes. Have you seen that GIF?
I can't get Luke Wilson, but I get Lurch.
Just how your brain files
I
things.
guess.
You know?
What's in this coffee?
Yeah, priorities.
What else happened in 2020?
What happened?
Yeah.
Oh shit! It's 2019.
It's been.
What did you know?
I mean,
it's been a year. Hannah, you were just talking about this before the show.
Yeah.
Hannah got engaged this year, and Troy, you guys have met each other a couple times.
How do I not? I feel.
We saw each other at RTX, and then you were going, as always, you were traveling. I knew you were going to be traveling a bunch right after that, because I knew you were in the middle of a big travel season.
Summer's crazy.
Yeah, you were. I remember when I saw you, you were like, I'm going here and then here and then here. And it happened. I think it was this is bad. I should know. It was the end of July. That I got engaged. And but you had asked how it happened, and I felt like you would appreciate it. Because you know I'm a big nerd, and I've already kind of told this story, so sorry if I'm like rehashing it. But basically, have you ever played the game Fog of Love?
No.
Okay, so I feel like you would like it.
Okay.
It's a board game. It's a 2-player board game. It's solely 2 players.
Okay.
And you are playing as, each of you are playing a fictitious partner in a relationship. And
so it's Fog of War, but it's the fog.
But so you kind of draw different cards to create characters. So you're building fake characters, and they have like a job, and they have wants and needs. And most of the game is set up as a sort of game of multiple choice. So you have personal goals you're trying to achieve, and certain choices that you make get you points. But also you're ostensibly trying to make your relationship with the other player succeed. And those choices also amount to different points. So sometimes you make a choice that's good for you, but isn't good for the relationship. And vice versa. Sometimes you sacrifice for yourself, and it's good for the relationship.
I know what you're setting up right now, and this is incredibly precarious. Like everybody else is like, I need to get like.
I'm like watching your reactions.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
So the interesting thing is, I've talked to Mariel about this before, is that when we have played the game, we've always said, like, yeah, you would not play this game as yourselves, because that seems like a shortcut to destroying your relationship, right? So it feels key that you're playing fictitious characters.
All right.
The one time that I played it with you, I played with Tyler Coe.
Yes.
And we ended up hating each other by the end of it.
Yeah, you're like, why do you keep picking this? And so we love this game, and there are multiple expansions for the game. And so Dan and I had been together for about 5 years, 5.5 years at this point. And I had had a really rough day. I'd been at like the car place trying to get my car fixed all day. I came home, I was in a tizzy, I was yelling, I was upset. Dan was, and we had plans to go out to dinner that night because it was basically I had missed our 5-year anniversary. And so he was being very patient, and he's like, I'm gonna go get the mail, you just relax, I'll come back. He comes back with the mail, and he's like, oh great, like there's this new expansion of Fog of Love that came out. And it's like a month-to-month thing now, where every month they'll send you a new, like a little mini expansion, because the game kind of has like different walkthroughs you can do. Sorry, we're getting real in the weeds.
No. I am
Okay.
tracking with you 100%.
Okay.
I am on the edge of this wonderfully comfortable recliner right now.
So basically, like each time you play through the game, there's a sort of a premise. So it could be like childhood sweethearts or opposites attract. Like each couple that you're playing through has like a thematic element to it.
Are you choosing a character, or they, or is there a character like you draw from a rogue,
so
a mage?
you name the character. It's no real archetypes. It's
You got
traits.
bitch, you got lover, you got
Child.
Oh, are we like going like the Campbellian?
you got sinner, you got saint.
The normal rent?
I do not feel ashamed.
Meredith
There we go.
Brooks.
That's it. That's the episode. So no, you make up a name, and then your character's basically determined by their random cards you shuffle their traits. So it could be fashionable, or stubborn, or likes mismatched socks. Like they could be very, very granular or very kind of broad strokes. And then you often get like, you also shuffle through like occupations. So you kind of are like building like a made up just person.
And is this character persistent throughout multiple games, or do you everyone is a different one?
Every kind of playthrough is different characters.
I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, makes sense. So he basically was pitching to me, and he has this package. He gets this package, he shows it to me, cuts it open, takes it out, has like all the Fog of Love stuff on it. And he's like, well, why don't we, to relax before we go to dinner, why don't we just sit and play through this? And so I was
Let's just relax real quick.
Just
play a little board game.
An incredibly intense game about relationship.
But he knew it was a game that I remember the week prior I had asked if we could play Fog of Love, and we didn't have time to do it. So I think he was like, we'll just do this. So we open it up, we take the cards out, and I'm reading through them, and it always starts, like I said, with a premise card. And I'm reading it, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this is us. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, it says like the setup of the playthrough was you met at a party and found out you worked for the same company and decided to keep your relationship under wraps from your coworkers.
This is cards that are printed.
Look like the game, printed on cards that look like the game. So I'm like, this is us.
Making everyone look bad.
Right. So I was like, this is us. Like, this is definitely us. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And the headline of the playthrough was The Secret Engagement. So I was like, I don't want to be that person who's like, are you proposing? And him be like, it's a game, relax, So I was like, what is this? And so he's like, let's keep setting it up. So we set it all up, and I'm dealt like my trait cards, and they're like very similar to me. So it's like blue eyes, animal lover, like, but he's like, these are general things. Like, I don't, why are you being?
He's like, you're not special,
Yeah, he was
Hannah.
like gaslighting me the entire time. Like, because at one point, so we start playing, and the cards are very specific. Like,
Will.
Right.
You.
Right. So like, I'm getting all these things that are very specific to us, and it's like, I got a card that was like, because then basically it's the way the game works is it's premises. So it's like in previous iterations of the game, it's like, you have to go to a company party, and they go with you to pick out your outfit. You try and address, what do you say to your partner? And you have A, B, C, D choices.
Okay.
And then they would say like, you look amazing, or I don't think that's the right dress for you. And depending on what you guys pick, you get points. And you're trying to match or not match depending on what you want. Very dangerous.
Very dangerous.
So we're getting these things, and like one that pops up is fostering kittens. And I was like, this is us. Like this, we do that. And he's like, Hannah, lots of people foster animals.
But he's
And I was like, and I'm going like, did I huff fumes at the card place today? Like, what is going on? And so finally we get to the end of the pack, and the card is like, it just says like, they all have headers, so it says, do you love me? And then it says, like, explain to your partner, because a lot of them are prompts, like they'll tell you to do things. Explain to your partner what you love about them, and then it's like A, B, C, D. And they all have like very sweet things like, I love you more each day, or whatever. And then D is, I have something to ask you. And then in parentheses it says, trigger special event. And so I was like, is this like what is going on? And so he, of course, like I didn't pick D because I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not being baited into this.
The thing that she hasn't mentioned is that he's filming this whole time because he has like a webcam.
He had a webcam. Well, so here's the thing. This also deepens how the nerdiness. He plays Twilight Imperium, which is like one of the most intense board games I've ever seen in my entire life. And he's in a league, and they had asked him if he could teach them how to stream it. So he had gotten this stuff to stream for them, and I knew this. So he was like, we're gonna play this, so why don't I just test out this streaming stuff, because he was gonna do it that weekend. So he's like, I need to test it, make sure it works.
Sneaky.
This guy, man.
He was like, I have to make sure it works.
Shit.
So I was like, that's weird, but I mean, I know he's doing that this weekend. He's had this stream gear for like 3 months. So it was weird, but again, enough that I suspended my disbelief. So obviously at this point, I'm being recorded. The cards are made for us.
And your parents are there.
Well, we pick this. I just pick B, and then he picks D, and so then he's like, okay, can you stand up? I have something to ask you. So I stood up, he gets down on one knee, he proposes, I black out, like I just start crying. I'm sure he said wonderful things. It's on tape somewhere, so I'm sure I will watch it again. And so he proposes, and it's very wonderful and sweet. And my first question was, how did you do this? What is this? Because as wonderful as that moment was, my brain could not figure out this game. And what it was that he had decided a while ago that he had wanted to propose through a board game, because we play them all the time. They're very key to our relationship. And he had been trying to design it himself and wasn't looking good. So he reached out via board game forums to the creators of the game saying, hey, would you be able to send me some of the fonts, like tell me the fonts you use so that I can try to do this, because this is what I want to do for my girlfriend. And they were like, we love this idea so much, we'll do it for you.
Wow.
And so they're from, I think, the Netherlands. So they basically were like, you write all the copy, we'll design everything, send it to you. And he just had to get them printed. And then he like cut all the edges of the cards so they'd look rounded. But the reason I couldn't figure it out was they were legitimately identical to the actual game.
So when he went and got them from the mail, he wasn't actually getting them from the mail.
No, he had gotten an envelope, fake sealed it, had one of his coworkers write it so it wasn't in his handwriting, and put like mail stuff on it. So I literally saw him open a package, which was why it was so confusing to me, because I was like,
every man in the world fucking hates him so much right now.
Step it up.
It was very elaborate. Well, and to your joke, he was then like, okay, well, we are legitimately late for dinner, so we have to go. So I was like, oh yeah, right. And we were going to dinner like not very far from us, and we go to the restaurant and we turn a corner and the lady stops at the table where we're gonna sit, and there are like 2 people there, and I was like, oh, this isn't our table. And then the people turn around and they're my parents. And my parents did fly in to surprise me. So it was very,
I know. Honestly,
it was ridiculous.
The greatest man in the world.
It was pretty ridiculous.
I don't know. How can you even measure up to that?
You can't.
You can't.
You can, because this is what we were saying when Hank Green was here, that is a very like specific to us.
Right.
Anytime someone proposes and it's personal, I don't care if it's like he was saying it was pizza on a hike, like.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, he was saying that's what he did. And I think if it's personal to you, it's perfect. I don't think it needs to be elaborate. Dan made me think I was insane for a full 2 hours. So
he likes nagging you.
Right? Maybe.
That's how he gets you.
Yeah, he was like, I've got her, I've conned her. Well, because normally I'm very suspicious. So, but yeah, so I have not seen you in a while, so that's what happened.
What an amazing story.
Isn't
it was pretty great. It was pretty.
It's just like, and you get to keep like. That's not just like a keepsake that you get, like, oh, like here's a picture from when we got engaged or whatever. It's like you can show your kids that.
Yeah, you can play it. You can play as Dan and I. And that was the other red flag. I was like, we're not supposed to play as ourselves. Why are we doing this?
Ooh, I'll go play as you guys and break you up.
And there is a card that lets you break up in it, so you could break us up.
Wouldn't it be funny if that's the direction you
It's like Jumanji.
I know.
And
people said that.
Yeah,
they were like,
right?
exactly. They were like, what if you had chosen the card that breaks you up? And I was like, I don't know what he would.
I think you legally would have had to break up.
It's over.
By law,
you're done.
You'd be single right now.
Yep.
Well.
Yep.
Do you feel though that there is a a general like a level of attrition for stories like that. Like there's with the advent of we met on Bumble, we met on there's so many other ways that legitimately people are dating and having relationships. I'm not disparaging those services, but there seems to be this trend towards, and like my wife's predominantly a wedding photographer, so she does proposals, weddings, engagements, all these kind of things, and so she'll always ask, how'd you guys meet? And we're like, well, I don't know, we just Bumble? I think it was Bumble that we, it's like, and then what happens, like, I don't know, that was Tuesday and we're here. There's no narrative to their relationship. Right. So I don't know if that's something that maybe just a subsection of what I'm seeing of culture, or if you're kind of, is that something you guys see, that there's not a lot of people that have something that is, I mean, bespoke to you. Because like you said, it doesn't have to be opulent and elaborate. That's an elaborate thing.
It's very elaborate.
But it's not like dancing bears and I did fireworks.
Do you feel like romance is dying?
Oof, that's a wow. Sweeping note. Do we just
is romance dying?
2020, happy 2020. Is romance dead? Do
we bring it back?
I think that, I believe that our very genetic level, we're storytellers. That's why all of us do what we do, is because somehow we're trying to tell our story. That's all we want to do, is tell our story. And since cavemen were drawing on walls and saying, look at this woolly mammoth that I killed, for whatever reason, whether it be like, I'm hoping that this impresses you so that you will go into my cave tonight.
And then look how big he was.
You see how big he was? I don't know but not only are we storytellers, but we're also we were like hunters, you know, and we were against a lot of odds, and we were against the elements, we were against, enemies that were trying to eat us. We were either trying to eat them or they were trying to eat us. And now it's kind of like, I don't know, I scroll through my phone and I swipe, as opposed to, I don't know the last time a guy or a girl walked up to somebody in a bar and was like, can I buy you a drink? And then got told, no. And like, and realized.
So you say yes, you get the free drink, and then you say,
and then
peace out.
I don't know. Well, that's a whole separate sub-conversation. But for me, the thing is if I walked up and if I was a jerk, some varying degree of douchebag, and I was rejected, that taught me something. I was like, oh, so this isn't the way. You don't walk up to a girl and give her some cheesy line. Nice pants, I'd like to be in them, or some whatever. I don't know. It was never my style. Right. Barbara's like,
it's always worked for me.
It would work.
You know what I mean? Like, just like get out of here. If you got no game, then it's like, okay, maybe I just try to approach honestly, as like, I saw you, I think you're very attractive. I'd like to know why. I'd like to buy you a drink. That's how we learn how to adapt. And now we don't have to. We show up at a bar and it's like, we're both here for the same thing, right? It's a foregone conclusion that more than likely we're gonna at least kiss. We're at least gonna date somehow. So I just don't know. I feel like that is starting to. We're starting to see that assuage in society. But I don't hear a lot of stories like yours. So I don't know if that's just the result of.
Well, no. I mean, I have a friend who refused to online date, and so she was just like, "Not for me. I'm never gonna do it."
What was the reason?
I don't know. I still to this day don't really know what the reasoning was. And then she ended up, now she's been dating this girl that she's been with for I think maybe a year and a half now. And they met through work. Like she runs kind of this publication out of Houston. And the girl that she's dating was like a photographer that she worked with a few times, and like they became really good friends and stuff. But yeah, I feel like it is rare to like that story reminds me of something like would have happened with for my parents.
Sure.
Not to anyone.
Era.
Yeah.
I saw a unicorn. She got engaged by a board game.
Yeah. So and then I don't know. I get the times are just changing.
People are just putting less effort into things.
I think that's what it is, and I also feel like most people are now more cynical about it. It's like, I'm never gonna find that. Right? So I don't even want to try. But as opposed to going, no, I think it's tied into worth. I think that people guys are either lazy or scared. because they feel like the stupid who had the quote, he was like, well, I don't know what to do now because the rules have changed. And I was like, no, they haven't. The rules have always been the same. Don't be an asshole. I think that there's guys now that have become lazy because all they have to do is do this to get laid. And they don't have to go, oh, I have to make sure that I'm maintaining some decorum, maintaining myself, and not being an asshole, but put some effort into it. And so girls, I mean, I've talked to a lot of friends that are just like, it is so hard out here. I told a story, a friend of mine, she's in New York, and she said, you just don't understand that the rules of dating have changed. It's a different game. And I was like, I have no doubt that they have. I don't doubt that the advent of Bumble, Twitter, Grindr, whatever, have changed the landscape. But I said, the value of gold fluctuates on a daily basis. Hourly sometimes, depending upon the stock market, depending upon politics, depending upon what's happening with the Fortune 500. All of these things make gold go up or down. They're saying it's going to be like $1,600 an ounce, and it's never been there before, going up and down, up and down. But that is not the worth of gold. The worth of gold is the fact that there is not a singular element in the entire universe that is a better conductor for electricity. It knows how to harness, capture, and distribute energy better than any other material in the universe.
That's not true. I'm the number one.
So I looked at her and I said, you need to know your worth and fuck your value. Because the value is something that is ascribed to you externally. Your internal worth never changes. So don't worry about your value. And I think that is a pervasive feeling with most people, is that they feel like, well, my likes are down. Or there's girls that are prettier on Instagram or whatever, or guys are Kumail Nanjiani puts up a picture.
Jesus.
And it was just like,
take a moment.
Good Lord.
I had texted him, I just started watching Silicon Valley, and I texted him, I was like, dude, because I saw him in July, I was here for RTX, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? He was like, I can't tell you. And he was getting to work on getting ready to go to London to work on the Eternals, and then I was like, bro, working out, looking good. And I texted him the other night, I was watching Silicon Valley, and I was like, holy shit, dude. You are just, it's insane. Like this square jaw, he's like, you don't even know. I was like, that was months ago.
Yeah. Wow.
And then he puts out that picture and I was like, well, great, now I'm gay. It's like,
I do appreciate what he said in that caption though, because he's very upfront with, and he's like, this took me a year. I had the best trainers and I had the best nutritionists that like the most expensive or the most like profitable studio in the world can buy. So like, he was like, yes, this was a lot of hard work, but I also realized that like it was easy for me to come by.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily attainable for the average person.
Right.
No.
Don't expect yourself.
You can't. And if you also look in that picture specifically, he's in the gym.
Yeah, right. The like little bells are behind him.
Yeah, kettlebells are right behind him. Like he just finished, and this trainer's going, stand right here. And do this. He's looking like like this, and like click. But it also came through, and I talked to him throughout the process. I mean, your life fundamentally changes. It's hard for someone who has a normal office job to look like that, to do that, because his job is to eat, work out, read a script, and shoot. That's it. That's all he's doing. And when that's your life for 12 hours, yeah, you put in the time, you put in the effort, you're gonna yield some results. And there's a whole genetics aside. But my point of that specifically is, I even tweeted out, I was like, everybody who even remotely knows who Kumail Nanjiani is got in the gym that day.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It was like, well, shit.
Dude, I thought it was a Photoshop.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was scrolling through my Twitter feed and I saw it, I went, huh.
Yeah.
What? Like, it took me a second. I think I was talking to you about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know it was real until you told me.
Fine.
But when you, yeah, dude. And someone said, they put a picture of Chris Price, like, remember when we were impressed with this? And someone said, looks better in brown. But I think that, you know, as a guy, or this happens regardless of gender. You look on social media with the perfect filter and the perfect light, and the 6 other deleted iterations of that picture that finally got posted, when it's like, well, look at that's. I'm not going to be that.
Yeah.
And so I think that allows people to kind of change their narrative to where they feel like they can't have someone that's going to give them that kind of story. I don't know. I don't think romance is dying. I do think that it is in a coma.
It's hibernating for the winter.
Or it's also evolving. Like,
Yes.
I feel like it's
Is that
hard
an evolution?
I think so.
Okay. To what form?
This is what Troy does.
I know.
You say something that you think is like a nice point, and then he asks you why.
And then
you're like, I've never thought about the reason.
I yield my remaining time before. I mean, it's like, isn't it? I'm wonderfully open to that postulate, but I don't know, or that proposal, but I don't know if it's a.
I don't know.
Like maybe like what's considered romantic nowadays versus in the olden days.
Right.
It's different.
That's a good point.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There was a point in our history where, like, men would go and capture teenage girls and be like, this is my wife now, and, like, that was considered romantic.
Whatever. We just celebrated that day.
So, like, I don't know. I think about my relationship and how it's completely different from any relationship I've ever been in.
How do you guys show
Yeah.
affection? How do you show romanticism to each other? Is that the
Hate
word?
each other.
Honk.
Yeah, honk honk. That's what the best part about having two pairs of boobs. Love
Like, yay.
you, honey. Honk honk. I don't know. Fuck. You got me fucked up.
We're interviewing you on this episode.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for this. We haven't been together for a super long time. And I just think about my relationship prior to this one. And that was also someone I met on a dating app. Because it's, when you're gay, it's a job. It's like finding a job. You find it online or like you get referred. And so I spent essentially 4 years with someone who I never really felt like more than surface level connected to. And then I meet a new person and it's like instantly like there's all these connections that I never thought were for me or like that like I was capable of. Because I was just always like, oh, like, yeah, I mean, if I'm going to be in a long-term relationship, it's going to be like for convenience or something, not because I really want it. And now my entire outlook has changed.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what romance
I think you got comfortable and kind of forgot what it was like to feel
happy.
But just like that spark.
I don't know.
Well, and I think also, I can't remember, we've talked about it before. I think that it's also, it's a choice, right? It's something you have to keep choosing.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a daily choice to love and be loved. It's not, I think, easy. And I think that's something that maybe is easy to overlook when you talk about love, is that it's always going to be this effortless, perfect, romantic, head in the clouds kind of feeling. And I think love is most obvious to me on the days when it's hard.
Yeah.
When you're...
I don't think love kicks in until then. Everything else is infatuation.
Exactly. I think the times that I know that I feel real deep, true love, to your point of sensing things you maybe haven't sensed before, is the days where if it was anyone else, I would have probably given up, or I would have been a worse version of myself. But I choose to either be better, or that person chooses to give me the benefit of their love. I think that's what it is.
I think love kicks in when you're sick. It kicks in when you're ugly. It kicks in when you're crying. It kicks in. It's that sweatpants and sweatshirt thing. It's not. It's easy to love. It's easy to love on vacation.
Yes.
It's easy to love in the midst of that romantic moment. What's really, really hard is when you got 102 fever, or when you had a really shitty day.
Yeah.
Those are the moments that stretch me, and I think love is not. Everyone's like, love is this wonderful thing. I was like, no, man, love is like life insurance is a wonderful thing, right?
It's pretty great. Pretty great.
I mean, I took out a policy on Barbara.
So
watch out.
But I mean, think about this. It's the worst thing because it only comes into play in the worst circumstance, right? That to me is love. It's like I'm breaking the glass and employing this because the only thing that's going to keep me from walking out the door is love. Because left to my own devices and my own weaknesses, I'm incapable. I'm incapable in my own natural sense of giving to a person what they truly need, and that's the love. That's why I also think that most people are like, whenever they go, fate brought us together, and I'm just looking for a sign, and I just really want this feeling. I'm like, oh, I'll see you in 6 months. Because like you said, you choose daily. It's like, you're my person.
Yeah.
I'm choosing you.
Yeah.
I think when it happens too, it kind of hits you in a very interesting way. Like my relationship, when it started, I didn't want to be in it. Or not that I didn't want to be in it, but
You had just come out of a 4-year relationship.
Yeah.
You were looking for something else.
I was looking for something else, and I wasn't wanting to get into a relationship, and I wasn't wanting to, I wanted to have my hoe phase, like for real.
Oh, I get it.
You know,
I called mine the year of the bull. It was like, the bull stays sequestered over here and it wanders over to the pasture when it wants to.
And so I definitely was like so set in this, like, no, I have to do this. Like I have to, like I can't meet someone right now that I want to be with because like I've told myself I can't do it.
And you had told me, you're like, I fall in love instantly.
I do.
Like,
yes.
I'm really good at that too.
Yeah. And so, of course, you know, I meet this person and basically like 2 days I'm like, oh fuck, like I've really fucked up. Found it when I definitely wasn't looking for it. And then like we had a very open and honest conversation from the get-go where I was just like, hey, like I'm not looking for this right now. Like this isn't something that I'm interested in, and I'm like, I need to find time for myself. Like I'm just kind of rediscovering who I am. And I
think that's the best possible way you guys could have started that relationship, though.
Oh, but I mean, it called for brutal honesty with each
exactly.
other.
And that sets the precedent for it.
Right. Which was a thing that I told her. I was like, listen, I just spent a long time with someone who like I didn't know how to communicate with. So before we even get together, even if it's a possibility that we may never actually be in a relationship, like I want to start off with the foundation of like solid communication.
Do you feel you had the tools and you didn't feel that you could communicate with that person, or you didn't have the tools to communicate?
Both.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't have the tools. And just like, I think because we didn't start off I mean, I don't know. I think you can learn how to communicate with someone, but if you don't put that effort in, and I don't feel like either of us did, like,
sure,
you're just gonna kind of circle the drain like we did.
It's hard to learn how to communicate the longer you're together and don't do it properly. I feel.
Yes.
It's like you need to relearn how to be together.
It's hard. Say that again. It's hard to communicate.
Like if you're in a relationship for a few years and you've never had good communication, I feel harder to start from there.
Yeah.
Versus early on.
Yeah, you're already crystallized, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You already have patterns and behavior that have become characteristics of that relationship.
I have a question for you guys. Another hard question. Talking about love. How do you guys know you're in love? Like, what is that? What is that moment? What is that feeling?
Who's gonna start?
Oh God.
2020.
Open honesty.
I mean, I think I kind of, I think I touched on it. I definitely think for me, I have not been in a lot of relationships. I think we've talked about that before. I've really only dated 2 people.
Including Dan?
He's one of the 2, basically. And for me, it's this, I think it's that I can be a very selfish person. I think most people have fairly selfish impulses, self-preservation and whatnot. And I think I knew that I loved him because, and it's super cheesy, it would be simple things like just his happiness was more important than mine. And I was never really like that prior. I would put myself or kind of my own needs first. And it's I think, to your point, it's the times where I would not want anyone else to see me. I think it's vulnerability. I think it's someone that, at least for me, it's that I can be completely, because I'm a very I'm a control person. I need to be in control and feel in control, and vulnerability is like a complete absence of control. And I think there are situations that I would have probably not let many people, if anyone outside of my family, and like horrible knee surgery was one for me, where I had my second knee surgery, and my mom could only be there for like the day of surgery. And Dan took care of me for like that first week where I was basically could barely walk and do anything for myself. And just giving into that and being like, I trust this person implicitly. They're gonna take care of me no matter what, come good or bad. I think that for me, it's weird. I feel like love is a lot of maybe the opposites of what things people think about. It's the vulnerability, it's the insecurity, it's the fear, or the things that I know that's why I love him, is because those things aren't so scary with that person.
Yeah.
Because if it was anyone else, I'd be like, that's not worth it. I don't want to do it. So.
I don't know if I could say that any better.
Yeah.
I 100% back that. It is a choice. It's just a daily choice that you have to be responsible with that choice, right? Because what that choice implies and what it demands and requires on the other end of that is, okay, now you have to be vulnerable. If you say this, if you do this, then this is what is required of you. If you take your helmet off, then you can never put it back on again. It's the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Hey, I did it. But to me, it is a willful, conscious decision to do that, and then it bears this fruit. It bears this. Things are less scary with you. You know, those become the result. It's not the substance of it. And I think too many people chase that. And what about the morning when you wake up and you don't feel that? Oh my God.
Yeah.
I guess we're not in love anymore. No.
Right.
It's Wednesday.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
I did.
Right? So that my thing is that has to sustain me through Wednesdays. Love is what sustains you through Wednesdays. And sounds like a Pete Seeger record or something. Love is what sustains you through Wednesdays.
Hump day.
Yeah, it is.
That's how you sustain through it.
So I don't know. For me, I would echo and reinforce everything that you said. It's just a willful choice.
Knowing it's hard, but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two things that you said that really resonated with me is, number one is when their happiness means more than anything else. I believe that the ultimate demonstration of love is anything that requires a sacrifice from you. To say, because I love you, I'm going to have to do something that is super hard for me, and selfishly what I want to do is not this. But because I know that you need this, therefore, boom. It's the classic thing, if you love something, set it free, right? It's when your needs supersede, or your wants supersede my needs. And truly putting that person first. Then the other thing is the days when you say, we have hard days. I want to make sure I'm not misquoting you, but to love and be loved.
Yeah.
I think that is something when a lot of people get into a relationship where they're loving, but they don't have the language in order to be loved, and they can't receive that love. That to me can be a hindrance to a healthy relationship.
Yeah.
Is learning. I think people try to receive love by giving it, as opposed to just allowing themselves to be loved and letting that start from inside first and going, I love who I am, so I get why you love me, and I'm going to let you love me. And then that just becomes a reflection, right? So the love that Paul McCartney, in the end, the love that we get is the love we give. So it's like being able to receive that love from someone and then also filter it through you and now give that to the same person. I have nothing to give but the love that I receive.
Wow. What about you, Barb?
Fucking snap. It's crazy that you say that, because there was many relationships I've been in where I felt like I wasn't getting back what I was giving.
Yeah.
And to combat that, I would overcompensate with more and more and more and more, hoping in return that would then give me back something. And I talked about this before on the show, but the idea of like true intimacy, meaning you could say and do anything with someone without fear of judgment.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because to me that is a huge part of love.
Right.
And I've been in relationships where I've said I love you and I thought I was in love, and then I'm like, I didn't have that. I didn't have no fear of judgment with that person. And I'm just like, how did I not see that? How did I not feel like that was inappropriate for me to be in for that long of a time? But yeah, I mean, whatever, all the stuff you said, I just want to play back and I'll just move my mouth and that'll be it. I think it's knowing you're in love is, I think, different depending on the person that you're with. But it's having true empathy for that person, feeling for that person. And also, Mariel, I know you've experienced this too, you can't shut the fuck up about them. You want to talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
You want to tell everyone about them. You want to say their name in conversation any chance you get. It's just butterflies.
Yeah.
It's effusive. You become this fount of good.
Yeah, for me it's been interesting because I always thought I was a certain kind of person. I was just like, I love my space, I love being alone, I love like being an introvert who comes home and closes my doors and talks to no one, and then I'll venture out eventually. But like, you know, in my last relationship, we did not live together. We had like, we'd see each other a few times a week and be like, all right, like I'm gonna go back to my place, I'll see you next week.
And you were content with that.
And we were content with that, and I was just like, this is how I want it, this is how I love it, like perfect. Like if I could spend the rest, I think I've even said on the show before, like if I could marry someone and live in separate houses, I'd be great. Like never have to spend any time with them. And with Hannah, this Hannah specifically, she is the one I am dating.
It's really going to be hard for people.
It's
the girl she's dating.
I have follow-up questions.
Looks like Barbara has Hannah's name.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your favorite things.
Combination.
Exactly. I said, bippity boppity boop, I want the perfect woman. There you go.
I just need some of your hair real quick.
Yeah, there you go.
That's actually my hair.
Yeah. It's funny too because she has curly blonde hair.
Yeah. It is like she fused us.
Wow.
Should
Thanks,
we do
big
the
man.
fucking?
Oh no, this was genetics. Don't bring some supreme being in. You ordered this.
I picked it up at the drive-thru. But it's just it was just like, oh shit, like that's how I felt. Just like, oh, okay, like this is what it's supposed to be like. I'm supposed to be happy, like spending this amount of time with someone and like looking forward to going to the same like going home and seeing her every day and like waking up every morning and just being like, oh wow, like I'm so happy to see you.
I'm supposed to be happy. What a phrase. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be happy.
Yeah, I never thought that was a thing, you know?
I know so many people that are miserable in their relationship. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be happy.
Deep, huh?
What else?
You thought you were deep.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be happy.
Now what you have to do is now have a follow-up question for Troy that will make him think even deeper on that.
And then you finally get me to shut the fuck up. Oh shit, I'm supposed to be happy.
2020 around the corner.
It's here.
It's arrived.
What is the greatest thing you guys have learned in 2019?
Wow.
I didn't prep you at all.
Yeah, we
which is
did
fine.
not. Yeah, we're good though.
I said this the other day, not on the show, just in a private conversation, but I think this year for me was a lot of cautious optimism and just kind of like treading very lightly in a lot of different aspects of my life, which is kind of exhausting. At some point you get to a point where you're just like, oh, fuck, like I don't want to feel like I'm on eggshells. I just want to like be on some solid ground. So 2020 is about reckless happiness, I think.
I love that.
Just fucking being happy for the hell of it.
I love that.
Fuck, that's good.
Oh
Yeah.
shit, I'm supposed to be happy.
Reckless happiness. I like that.
Reckless.
Just because I'm, why not? Why not?
YOLO,
YOLO.
as the
Be
kids
fucking
say.
happy.
No, go with the first one.
You've been through a lot this year.
I have been. I have a 19-month-old boy that, if you were ever wondering what's the best human that's ever lived, There it is.
Barbara Dunkelman.
Barbara Dunkelman.
That's his middle name, actually.
Traveler Barbara Dunkelman Hyde Baker.
I am so sorry.
He's constantly teaching me things about the world, about myself. We've talked about this. I was like, same thing. I told Pam, I was like, you need to know, I'm never getting married, and we're sure as hell never having kids. Because I didn't think that I was worth it. I didn't think that I deserved it.
Yeah.
I didn't know, oh shit, I'm supposed to be happy. And I allowed myself to finally be dangerous, recklessly happy enough to be in a situation where I would love myself enough and I would receive that love in order to be there. And so here we are 19 months later, and to be 100% in service to another human that is absolutely not reciprocating that at all. He has these great moments where his favorite word is mama. Wakes up, mama, 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 mama. And then we joke about, I was like, what'd you call me? He goes, daddy.
Oh.
And it's the best. And all I need is a daddy a day, and I'm great.
Keeps the doctor away.
Yeah. But then I was having this big moment where I had some work that popped up, but it was going to require me to be gone on his second birthday. You know, the birthday that you always remember. But I would have been gone, and I chose to not do it so that I would be there. And you get into a relationship where you're kind of like, see what I did? See what I did? And he was playing with blocks. And he didn't care. It's like, do you know what I just did? And I was like, oh, no, you don't. And so later that day, he shit his pants, and I changed it, and he looked at it, he was like, eat it. And then just later on that day, I was like, hey, dude, can I have a hug? And he just stopped what he was doing and walked over, and he gave me a hug. I was like, thank you, man, I really, really needed that. And I think those are little things that we get. So I'm learning that ultimately, in order for me to truly attain what I want, I have to be in service. I've lived 43 years in service to myself, and this is when I'm starting to love myself enough to love others in a way that serves them more than it serves me. But I think this year I've learned patience. I'm learning to slow down. I'm learning that there's balance to be had. So, man, I'm still, oh shit, I'm supposed to be happy. If that's not a t-shirt by tomorrow. Hannah McCarthy.
I would say that I think I learned a lot about, well, it was something I already knew a lot about, but I've been trying to work on, which is perfectionism. And I think it's just the idea it's better done than not done and aspiring towards perfect, you know? I think a project that's complete is always going to be better than an incomplete project that's never made, because you had some ideal of what it could be, and you were, because of that, too afraid to start or try. And I think that comes back to that sentiment of vulnerability. I think a lot of this year has been perfectionism and vulnerability, kind of the idea of like, a lot of what would prevent me from trying things was the fear of failure, the fear of being vulnerable, of saying, hey, I made a thing, and someone going, yeah, I don't like it. It's not good. And I think I got just really sick of setting aside the part of me that wanted to try things and to be creative, but was too scared to do it, or too scared to take a chance, or was holding myself to some unattainable standard. And I think a lot of that came from, to your point, I think being encouraged by people whose opinions I trust, saying you have value, you have worth, and it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You just have to try, and we're gonna appreciate whatever you've done, regardless of if it's how exactly you thought it would be. And so I think a lot of that has just been just me kind of giving myself the freedom to try things and sometimes fail or not do as well as I hoped I would.
Yeah.
Because how do you learn but by trying? And that's
You learn by your failures.
right.
We had
it's more instructive.
It's an interesting anecdote that has nothing really to do with this, but last week we had a group of UT students come in that
we can spell.
that Blaine and I gave a tour to, and then after the tour, it's like a web series class. So their whole task throughout the entire semester is to come up with a web series and then do at least a pilot or like 2 to 3 episodes. And so at the end of the tour, they were screening these episodes for us, and we were supposed to give them notes. And so we get through most of them, and like some of them are really, really good, like really funny. And then we get to this one, and it's this like sci-fi, like futuristic, like AI-based comedy, kind of, but more drama. And the sound's bad, and like all of these things are going on. But I was watching it, and I was just like I took my notes, and then afterwards we kind of did a Q&A with everyone in the room, and then we were going through, and then those girls who had that project, Blaine and I were like, oh, okay, like this other one that just came up, I can't remember what it was called. And they were both kind of sheepishly like, oh, that was us, yeah. They were like, and it's not done yet, like all of this stuff. And Blaine and I both had the same note of like, basically like, wow, like you guys took a risk that you didn't know if it was gonna pay off or not, because all of these other kids did like comedy things in their apartment and whatnot. And these girls like went on location, and they like, you know, they were operating the boom by themselves, and they were doing all of these things. And it was just like, it was super ballsy of you to try and do something like that you knew wasn't really in your scope, but you still tried it anyway. And it was just like, it can't like overcome with like pride for them, because they felt so bad, and they're like, oh, you know, like we're still working on it. And I was just like you could have never done this. You tried to do it, and that's what matters. And now you'll like learn from that. And like, you know, even Blaine had some notes about like, oh, like when you're filming on location, like do this, or like, you know, make sure you're asking the like property manager to like turn off the AC, or like little things that like they were just like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But it was just so kind of what you were saying is like, if you don't ever do it, like how will you know? So it was just a cool moment to be like, oh man, these cute, strange children.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry, no.
Oh.
I didn't cry, but I was just like, and they were just like, they kind of lit up, because I think like probably all semester they were just like, wow, we were like way too ambitious, like we should have thought a lot better of this. And even like their professor afterwards, he was just like, yeah, like that's kind of something that I've been trying to hammer into them. Like, just do it, you know? It doesn't matter if it's not 100% perfect. Like, the fact that you're getting it done is enough to say that you should be proud of yourself.
I love that they had you guys to kind of, what an incredible resource. You're like, learn by our mistakes.
Yeah, basically.
Anybody that's willing to share their successes better equally be ready to share their failures.
Yeah.
Otherwise, their successes don't mean a damn thing.
Right.
And I am, people who ask me, is like, well, so what are your keys to success? I'm like, I have zero, I have no idea, but I can show you all of the doors to failure. And those are the things that have taught me. And I don't really care too much as like, you just shipped a huge game. It's like, yeah. Do you want to know all the ways that it almost failed, so that when you make your game, or that when you are writing your script, or when you're directing your film or your short, whatever it is, do you want to know what not to do? Make sure you talk to the property manager and get the AC off.
Right.
You only know that
because we've had to do it.
Because you've had to do it.
Yeah.
Or because you've done something where you didn't do it.
Right.
Like, oh my,
shit.
we should have turned off the AC.
Yeah.
Which sucks in Austin, by the way.
Yeah.
Turning off the AC.
It's the AC, it's like, shoot it, but have you ever just shot winter for summer?
Oh, God.
Or summer for winter? Woof.
Worst.
Those are the worst.
Yeah, I was in a cheerleading uniform in 22-degree weather.
Yay.
Field.
Well, yeah.
Want to know how to catch the flu?
Yeah, that's how I did it.
2019.
You?
Wrap it up. 2 words.
Fuck you.
Oh shit, I'm
That's
supposed to be
those are
happy.
This year I've learned that I'm deserving
Yeah.
and I'm capable.
Yeah.
And it's taken me 30 years to be able to say that. And I think everyone is deserving and capable, whether or not they feel like it or not.
Wow.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
We started off this year crying. Remember that? Was it this year that we started off crying with Negri?
No.
Was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years
Jesus
ago.
Christ.
Oof.
I need to be
Doing the show
sedated.
for a
I'm too
while.
old.
Dude, I'm the one about to cry right now on the show.
Things have changed.
We should do a box of issues and change the subject immediately.
Do it.
Oh, nice. I was looking over there. We have a new one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, actually, I think we have Aiden sent us
Aiden
another
Yardley
one.
Jones.
So we will be opening that one on Friday, I believe, or next time we shoot.
Dear Always Open crew.
All right.
I'm 19 years old, and I met this girl I like through work, and she has mentioned that she does not and will never like me. I'm fine that we stayed as friends, but there's another guy that she talks to. This guy and I hate each other, and I get super jealous when she talks to him. Here's my problem. How do I stop having these feelings for someone who I'm fine staying friends with, but also this sense of jealousy when she talks to this other guy? From Joseph.
Ooh, Joseph.
Hey, Joseph, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Huge, man. Way to go.
That fucking is not an easy situation to be in.
No.
Jealousy. What are you jealous of? Are you jealous that she likes him or that he's the recipient of that? You wish you were Phil. Whatever. You know what I mean?
What was the name that we used on the show last time?
Gary's always a good one.
We did Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
Dennis
Who doesn't want to be
Quaid.
Dennis Quaid besides Dennis Quaid? If I may,
Please.
on my left arm, I think we talked about this before. On my left arm, I have a tattoo that is one of the 147 Delphic maxims. I will briefly tell you what that means. In Greek, the Temple of Delphi, there were 147, kind of like their 10 commandments, but they're just short aphorisms of ways to live life. The first one is, know thyself. And I have that written on my weak arm, because unlike you, I'm a righty, so my left arm is my weak arm. So whenever I feel weak, whenever I feel like I don't know what I'm supposed to do, who I am, if I'm feeling jealous, it's because I don't know who I am. And Stephanie, Brittany, Tiffany, Carol,
4 names.
who likes Gary, those two people exist outside of you, Joseph. They are not you, and you are enough by yourself. You don't need Stephanie, Carol, Brittany, Tiffany's affection, even though you really, really want them. I feel, and I've been in that situation before, where I was jealous of somebody else, and I realized the reason why I was jealous was because either A, I didn't feel like I was deserving of love, and that was just an avatar for that. See, I want to like her, she doesn't like me, but she's capable of liking somebody, and she likes him, so what does this guy have that I don't? And then you start playing a comparing game. He's taller, he's more fit, he has more money, he's a better job, he's older, he's younger, he's blonde, he's brunette, whatever. You start playing a comparison game. The feeling of jealousy comes from a feeling of dissatisfaction in who you are, not who they are. So I would just really, really encourage you to know yourself and know that you are enough. And let that basic bitch like Gary, Derek,
Dennis Quaid.
make space for someone who does like you. And as quickly as you can, love yourself enough to carry yourself and sustain yourself through that. And then make space for
Bonnie.
Yeah, dude. In accounting,
Oh, she's fine.
she's fine.
Point. I don't know if I could answer that any.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're done. Happy 2020.
I think Troy covered it.
We're going to be doing a post show as well with some more questions. So if you have not signed up for First membership, please do so. It really helps support all of us in the company that we work for, and things like this beautiful set and Mariel's hair.
It all goes to Mariel's hair.
welcome.
I need a haircut.
Yeah. And as a reminder, too, you guys could find us on all your podcasting platforms where you listen to podcasts, so please download it as well, or tell your friends. We would love for them to listen to the show. Troy,
Hi,
thank you so much for being here.
always.
Always a pleasure.
You're a treat.
Thank you.
You're a remarkable, fabulous human being,
Scholar and a gentleman.
and we are all lucky to know you.
Thank you.
And Hannah, beautiful
I'm unworthy.
and wonderful.
Just all of this. It's wonderful.
I'm very lucky to know all of you guys, to have you in
Very
my life.
sweet. We're lucky to have a crew that runs this show.
Yeah, way to go, crew.
Woo! We'll see you guys in 2020. We love you.
2020. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you guys so much for watching that episode of Always Open. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and watch these other beautiful videos down below. And let us know what you hope for in 2020 in the comments. We love you. Happy New Year.